Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results in your neighborhood now at 6 a.m.
Now on News 6 Mornings, an arrest in a Lake County murder. The man police say shot and killed a store clerk, found weeks after being on the run. The charges he's now facing.
Plus, a search for suspects after a violent home invasion. The photos police hope will lead them to the men responsible.
And a rematch on the debate stage in just hours. President Biden and former President Trump set to go head-to-head on the issues, how this debate is different than previous ones. Well, good morning on your Thursday to 6 a.m. I'm Crystal Moyer.
And I'm Stephen Montiero. Bridget has the day off. I'll have a check on the roads in a moment, but first, let's get over to meteorologist Candace Campos and your pinpoint accurate forecast. Good morning, ma'am.
Can you guess the three things I'm going to talk about today?
Rain.
Yeah.
Heat.
Yeah.
Humidity?
No.
Goes you satellite.
No, not yet. Soon. Tropics.
Tropics,
Okay.
got it.
Yeah.
All right.
I was close.
It's the end of June, right? I mean, that's basically the situation we've got here. Downtown Orlando sky cam, it does fluctuate a little bit every day. I do change the forecast, I do promise. I do look at all that stuff. Looking here, the twinkling lights of the city beautiful with the sun starting to rise. Our sky cam brought to you by Light Orlando, delivering hope. And yes, there will be more storms, there will be more heat, and there will be more things to talk about in the tropics. Right now, we're at 76 degrees. Right now, the humidity, it is there. It's going to welcome you out the door with open arms, as it's going to be a very humid start to the day. You can see the radar as of right now. Nothing too crazy as of now across our east central Florida counties, but we are tracking some of those scattered showers starting to creep a little bit across our Gulf Coast counties. And it's that west coast sea breeze that will continue to move in a little earlier in the day today. So rather than having all the storms favoring inland zones today, it might actually pin itself a little closer towards the coastline. So rain chances are going to fluctuate a little differently than what we've been seeing for the past few afternoons. In the meantime, though, we are starting off in the upper 70s to low 80s. You know it's going to be feeling way hotter than that, feeling like 103 to about 106 throughout the afternoon. So rain chances look like this. The lower, the further west you go. But you can see we're up to about a 50 to 60%, basically along I-4 and towards 95. We'll be timing out the rain. A look at the tropics. We've got a couple of things to talk about coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on your roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
And just as promised, you hit all three of them. And I'm sitting here going, oh, this is going to get interesting.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
No, not yet. 417 nice and clear this morning north of the Hunters Creek area. And then we come out here, Florida Mall. I'm talking Sand Lake, east and westbound between the Belle Isle area and, of course, Oak Ridge. So Orange Blossom Trail, Orange Avenue looking pretty good this morning if you're waking up nice and easy this morning. I'm picking up a slight delay westbound Sand Lake, approaching the Kirkman area. So just be cautious. We saw this yesterday. I think it's part of some construction out there. Just take it nice and easy.
Developing now, a break in the deadly shooting of a Leesburg store clerk. A suspect is now locked up after nearly a month on the run.
That's right. Investigators say this man right here was caught on camera barging into a convenience store earlier this month, then shooting and killing the worker behind the counter. News 6's Ezzy Castro joins us live right now from that scene. Now, Ezzy, the suspect was actually arrested in another county.
Yeah, he was found in the Kissimmee area, and we're told that they did that with the help of a violent crime task force, and he was booked into the Osceola County Jail overnight. And this comes just nearly a month after this happened inside this convenience store where the victim was just doing his job. And the store owner here told us that Lopez didn't even make it out with a lot of cash the night of the shooting, probably less than $100. We're going to hear more from the store owner coming up in my next report at 6:30. For now, live in Leesburg, Ezzy Castro, getting results, News 6.
Ezzy, thanks. We now know the name of the man shot and killed after getting into a shootout with Melbourne police. The whole thing taking place right in the middle of an apartment complex.
Did you hear the gunshot?
You could hear the gunshots there. Investigators say it was 47-year-old William Banks Jr. who was shot and killed at the Pentagon apartment complex off Strawbridge Avenue yesterday morning. Melbourne police say they were originally called to the area to do a well-being check just before 8 a.m. However, investigators say as soon as officers knocked on the door, Banks started firing shots through the door and then the window. At one point, police say Banks came outside armed with a gun, forcing the officers to shoot. Banks died at the scene.
New this morning, police in Ocoee are working to find the people behind a violent home invasion in which the suspect stormed into a home armed with a gun. Investigators say it happened last Monday night along Regal River Circle. That's just off of Ocoee-Apopka Road and Ocoee-Crown Point Parkway. Now, take a real good look at these photos here. Investigators say these men forced their way into the victim's home and then stole several items, including cash. The suspects were last seen leaving the area in a dark Toyota Camry. Luckily, no one was hurt. However, if you happen to recognize these men or anything that could help detectives, please call the Ocoee Police Department. And now to results 2024, where in just a matter of hours, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump will face off on the debate stage.
Yeah, it's the first time a presidential debate has ever been held this early, with both candidates saying they're ready. News 6's Mark Lehman is taking a closer look at what's at stake. And Mark, tonight's performance has the potential to sway some undecided voters.
Yeah, the two candidates will likely face questions on key issues like the economy, immigration, and abortion rights. We also know things will be much different since their last debate in 2020, as there's a new set of rules. As for the changes on the debate stage, there's no audience, only the two moderators and studio crew. The microphones will also be muted, except for the candidate whose turn it is to speak. Another rule that's in place is no pre-written notes will be allowed on stage, only a pen and paper. The 90-minute debate begins at 9 tonight. Steve?
Thanks, Mark. A wild crash in Marion County after a district school bus ends up slamming right into a home. Here's a much closer look at that scene near Marion Oaks Trail and Southwest 31st Avenue Road. Investigators say a driver of a pickup truck went through a stop sign and then hit that bus, causing it to veer off the road and into a home. Now, luckily, no students were on board. Both drivers suffered minor injuries, but will be okay.
Happening today, another planned rocket launch from our coast as SpaceX gears up to send its latest round of Starlink internet satellites into orbit. Teams will attempt to launch a Falcon 9 rocket carrying those 23 satellites from the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. It's going to happen this morning. Right now, the launch window opens at 7:14 a.m., but there are backup opportunities through 11. When it happens, you could see it live right here on News 6, clickorlando.com, and our streaming channel, News 6 Plus. You got your clicker, Candace?
I hope it works.
Is it working? You good?
We'll see. We'll see. Good.
Hit the floor. There you go.
They have a little rubber bumper, and I feel like it was made just for me. My hand hit it and went flying. Sorry, guys. Speaking of the launching a weather clicker, we're talking about launch forecast right now. We're at 79 degrees right now at the Cape. Our launch credit union camera, you can see the sun starting to make its appearance. So let's talk about that launch forecast. 77 degrees will be our temperature around 7:15 or so. The good news is limited cloud cover around will allow for many folks in Central Florida to be able to kind of see that little firecracker in the sky. You could see 90% chance for possible launch there. So we're looking good right now. All right, let's talk about those temperatures out the door right now. We're in the mid to upper 70s, 80 degrees in Cocoa Beach, 75 in Daytona. Further inland you go, we're also in the mid to upper 70s, pretty much area wide. Although you know it's already going to start feeling a little hotter than those actual temperatures. Looking here at the radar, again, we're looking relatively dry, although we are picking up a little bit of lightning just offshore here in the Gulf of Mexico, continuing to push its way a little further onshore over Citrus County, will continue to slowly try to make its way into far western Marion and Sumter County. But we really won't see that chance of rain really surge up until about 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, with your coverage upwards of about 50%. We'll be breaking down the timing where we could see our best chance for rain today. It changes a little bit day to day. We'll have more on that and a look at the tropics in just a bit. Now let's check on your roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
Thank you, Candace. So that's slow down westbound there at Sand Lake. Just be careful as you're approaching Kirkman, please. I'm picking it up and it's staying there pretty solid. There is no reported crash in that area, but I'm pretty sure there's some kind of construction project. So as you make your way towards the I-4 area, we already know that kind of that diverging diamond situation out there, so just be cautious. If you're westbound I-4 approaching 528 out by the attractions, we're not picking up any problems right now. Eastbound, still great. Champions Gate to 408, 24 minutes, but I'm thinking by the end of the show, that'll be about 35.
All right, the time is now 6:10 on your Thursday. Changes are on the way for utility customers in Sanford, and it could impact your money.
Yeah, coming up, the changes being made to the city's water meters and how it could end up costing you more.
But first, a violent attack in North Florida that deputies say all started with a video game. Up next, the man now locked up after flying thousands of miles to confront a fellow gamer.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Orlando Health.
Is Melania refusing to move back to the White House if Trump wins?
What do you think about that? Do you think that's possible?
Next, Inside Edition.
Tonight at 7:30 on News 6. Live with Bridget Ellison, Crystal Moyer. Weather with meteorologist Candace Campos and Central Florida's only traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
This is a weird one. Some things make you say, Some things you just can't make up.
Developing now, a New Jersey man is locked up and facing charges after deputies say he got so angry over a video game he actually flew to Florida and tried to kill someone. Investigators in Nassau County near Jacksonville arrested 20-year-old Edward Kang. Deputies say he was playing Arcade, an online fantasy game with the victim. It's unclear exactly what happened, but the sheriff says Kang got so upset he flew into town, went to the man's house, and then hit the victim several times with a hammer.
Mr. King, it's going to be a long time before you play video games again.
Investigators say the victim's father heard the screams and was able to wrestle Kang to the ground until the deputies arrived. He's now facing several charges, including attempted murder and burglary. All right, fans of Lady Gaga will certainly give the next story plenty of applause.
The star's newest wax figure is now on display in Orlando. Take a look. Madame Tussauds shared these photos with us showing their new addition. Gaga's figure is based on her look from the 2022 BAFTA Awards, in which she wore a green velvet dress. It also features her trademark pause-up stance. You know, it's a tribute to her fan base. They call themselves Little Monsters.
I would have rather had the meat dress. That's where
you would think, because that's like the most iconic, right?
I know that's like the old Lady Gaga. This is the new Lady Gaga or whatever.
They're two different people, or they're the same person?
No, the same person, just reimagined.
Different eras of her career.
Must be nice.
But it's been like almost a decade and a half that, we've been singing Lady Gaga songs. So
thank you for throwing the age up there.
I'm just
Appreciate
saying.
you.
I'm just waiting for them to put Usher in there,
He's not in there yet?
I'm sure that dude's got a wax figure somewhere.
I hope so, because
maybe somewhere.
That would be great for me to take a picture and be like, hey.
You got weather. You got weather for us.
They better put security over
I'm going to tell everybody it's the real deal. She was really there.
Oh, my goodness. All right, let's look at your weather story. Heat indices, 102 to 108. Got a lot of that tropical air, so that humidity is certainly going to be making it feel even hotter out there. Now, for today, we've been talking about the collision zone where that east and west coast sea breeze kind of meet and they kind of duke it out across the peninsula, and that's where we tend to see our best shot for rain. Today, it's going to shift a little further to the east, so we're talking more towards the 95 and even out to sea. We might not have as much rain as what we've had for the past couple of days. Temperatures out the door right now. We're in the mid to upper 70s, already hitting 80 degrees in Cocoa Beach, 76 degrees right now in Kissimmee. Heat index, once again, will be back between 103 and 106. But now let's check on your hour-by-hour forecast for today.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency? You ought to call Strata.
So today, rain chance again, not as high as yesterday, where it was like 60 to 70. Today, it's more like 40 to 50. Now let's get results here with a full 7-day forecast. We could be tapping into a little bit of Saharan dust as we head into the weekend, making our sunrise and sunsets a little extra vibrant. Now let's check on those roadways. Speaking of vibrant, Trooper Steve, he's got your pinpoint traffic.
Why is that like a thing that it's just funny to laugh at? Because you guys know, 6:20 in the morning, I'm not vibrant. Eastbound I-4, we are surprisingly doing pretty good. Now, there's a brief slowdown out there at Champions Gate, but we're used to this. But once you bypass this, you're going to be good to go. Increase that following distance. We're currently crash-free. Pleasant Hill, not too bad this morning. Big zoom out here. We check out Central Florida, and then I've got a crash up in the Maitland area currently on Maitland Boulevard as you are headed in the westbound direction there by Lake Lotus Crossing. I need like super intense zoom in sunglasses to be able to read this. So just be careful as you're out there along Maitland Boulevard. There is a lane currently blocked.
It is 6:22. A local amusement park making some big changes in hopes of improving safety.
Yeah, at the bottom of the hour, what Fun Spot now requiring for those under the age of 21. But first, a consumer alert involving Volkswagen SUVs, the company issuing a big recall. Up next, the key safety system that could fail during a crash.
This portion of the news is sponsored by the Flooring Center. This news, weather, and more from the News 6 Plus streaming app. Download the News 6 Plus app from the Fire TV App Store today. breaking news, traffic. When you need to know what's going on in your neighborhood, trust Sky 6 to get the bigger picture. Exclusively sponsored by attorney Dan Newland.
There's a consumer alert this morning for more than 250,000 drivers. Volkswagen is recalling some of their SUVs over fears the passenger side airbags might not deploy. The recall covers certain Atlas SUVs from the 2021 through 2024 model years and some 2020 through 2024 Atlas Cross Sport SUVs. Volkswagen says the seat heaters can interfere with the weight sensors, causing the SUVs to switch off the airbag even though someone may be in the seat. The company says once the parts are available, owners will be notified about free repairs.
In this morning's health headlines, taking a multivitamin daily may not help you live longer. That's according to the new study from the National Institute of Health. Researchers took a look at more than 400,000 Americans over the age of 20. The study found no significant difference when it came to risk of death for those who took multivitamin and those who didn't. That include death from things like cancer and heart disease.
So to come on News 6 Mornings, a big break in the case of a Leesburg store clerk shot and killed on the job.
At the bottom of the hour, the man now locked up and facing charges accused of carrying out the violent robbery.
And it's the kickoff to the 2024 presidential election. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump set to go head-to-head on the debate stage. What voters can expect during the much-anticipated rematch.
Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results.
An arrest weeks after the murder of a local convenience store clerk. The new details we've learned about the suspect overnight as he gets set to face a judge.
Plus, a small plane crashes right into a family's backyard in Volusia County. The investigation underway to figure out what happened as the two people on board recover in the hospital.
And a major change for a popular local attraction. Why Fun Spot says anyone under the age of 21 will now need a chaperone if they want to get inside. Good morning, Central Florida. I'm Stephen Montiero. Bridget has the day off.
And I'm Crystal Moyer. We want to start with a check of your pinpoint weather with meteorologist Candace Campos. We got more storms on the way, but things are going to be a little different today.
Yeah, where the east and west coast sea breeze kind of collide and meet up across Central Florida is really where we'll see those rock and thunderstorms. Today, it's going to be pushed a little further towards the east. We're talking more 95 or not at all, actually. I'll show you that coming up in the next couple of minutes. But taking a live look outside, downtown Orlando Sky Cam brought to you by Light Orlando, delivering hope. It's just a beautiful start to the day. Nice clear skies, meaning that we will have a pretty good chance of seeing a rocket launch today at about 7:15, even as far inland as Orlando. We're at 76 degrees right now, just under some partly cloudy skies. Outside the door in the rest of Central Florida, it's pretty uniform, mid to upper 70s, closing in on 80 in Cocoa Beach. But you know, even with temperatures in the low 90s, which is typical, we just have so much humidity in place that it's going to be feeling like those triple digits. And then the rain chances start to rise upwards about 50 to 60%. So your quick summer camp forecast, we're looking mostly dry, couple of isolated showers out towards our west, but more storms later on today. We'll have more details on your tropics coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
All right, guys, I've got a problem out here along Maitland Boulevard. I'm not sure what exactly it is. There is no reporting of any issue out here, but the map is registering a shutdown and some major delays. Maitland Boulevard between 434 and Eden Park. So this is a high traffic area. We're seeing a complete gridlock right now between east and westbound lanes. Westbound showing up that it is shut down. We're going to try to reach out to Maitland Police Department and try to get some information to see what's going on here. And then there is a crash just south of that area here off of Hiawassee and Beggs. Extra law enforcement will be at Seminole High School today after police say they caught a 16-year-old on campus with a loaded gun. District officials say they got a tip about the weapon yesterday. A school resource officer then confronted the teen who was there attending summer school. That's when police say the gun, along with a magazine containing nearly a dozen rounds of ammunition, was found in his backpack. Police say the boy never made any threats to use the weapon. Well, he is now facing multiple charges.
2 people are recovering from injuries this morning after their small plane crashed right into a family's backyard in Volusia County. Take a look. This happened yesterday afternoon on Lake Molly Avenue, right near the DeLand Municipal Airport. The family says they heard a loud bang and initially thought it was thunder, but then minutes later saw rescue crews rushing into their backyard.
I looked at one lady and I said, what's wrong? Is everything okay? And she goes, you have a plane down in your backyard. I said, what?
That's not something you expected someone to say to you.
No, absolutely not.
We're told the two people were alert when they were taken to the hospital, but we haven't gotten any other updates on their condition this morning. The FAA has been called in to investigate. Well, a major change this morning for Fun Spot. The popular attraction says if you're under 21, you'll need a chaperone. Initially, the company posted on social media the change would be in place on Saturday, reportedly due to online posts about a takeover event in the works. But later, Fun Spot posted the policy would take effect immediately. We spoke to former Orlando police chief and law enforcement expert Orlando Rolone about the change.
Being that they're so customer driven, I think what they're doing is in the best interest of everyone who comes and enjoys their parks.
Fun Spot says chaperones need to be 21 years or older and can only be responsible for up to 2 guests. The company says there will be some exceptions made for pre-registered groups and large families that visit the parks together.
Well, the Orlando Magic have officially made their first pick in the NBA draft.
The Orlando Magic select Tristan da Silva.
Some fans fired up to hear the news. The 6'8" forward is from Germany. That is tall, and played 4 seasons at Colorado. The team had the 18th overall pick in the draft. And in case you're wondering who was number 1, well, that was Zachary Rissache, the 19-year-old from France, had been playing in his home country, but will now join the Atlanta Hawks. And turning to our weather, meteorologist Candace Campos. Ma'am, how are we looking today? Man, that's a beautiful shot behind you there.
It's a beautiful start if you're looking outside your window, because actual temperatures outside, it's muggy, it's hot. Once again, we're at 76 degrees. The humidity is still upwards about 100%. The breeze out of the south-southwest at about 5 miles per hour. As of right now, most of Central Florida, if you're heading out the door, taking the kids to summer camp, running to work, you're still looking mostly dry, with the exception of just a couple of neighborhoods across far western Marion County, Denellen, Williston. Really, that's about it. Most of this rain that you see being picked up on the radar will continue to weaken considerably as it makes its way towards 75. Rain chances, though, throughout the next few hours will continue to climb. We're up to upwards about 50% by about 4, 5, even 6 o'clock in the evening. Not as widespread as yesterday, but certainly we'll be tapping into some of that rain. We'll be pinpointing the timing of that coming up after the break. But I do want to show you some Saharan dust. This is something very typical, very usual for June and July. It tends to suppress a big portion of the tropics for any rural tropical development. We're going to be tapping into some of this as we head into your weekend. Will it make any impact to our forecast? Not really, but something kind of cool. Also making our sunrises and sunsets a little extra orangey and red. But I'll have more details, more on the tropics, and look at the timing of rain today coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
Thank you, Candace. Right now we're watching a crash off of Maitland Boulevard right now. Sky 6 is over that. This is going to be close to the Magnolia Homes here. Off the right side of your screen, what are we looking at? We're looking at westbound travel lanes. They are completely shut down right now. And eastbound, you're down to 1 travel lane. This is exactly what we were showing on our links traffic map here. Let me show you on the map what we were talking about. Westbound shut down. Eastbound, you're good to go. This is going to cause some major issues in that area, so please plan ahead. Yesterday, out on patrol, I was hanging out with one of my favorite departments, the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, as they're hosting a recruitment open house. If you're interested in employment, they're hiring from civilian to sworn. Check them out and go to clickorlando.com. Today, I'll be over at Orange County Animal Services at 10 a.m. at clickorlando.com trying to find one of those fur babies a home. And I'll be coming right back to break down one of your questions and answer it.
Yeah, today we're talking about school zones during the summer. Plus, local condo owners getting hit with huge bills from their HOA, the new state laws being blamed, and what some are having to do just to be able to pay.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Freedom Health Medicare Advantage Plans. This news, weather, and more from the new 6 Plus streaming app. Visit the Apple TV App Store to download the new 6 Plus app today. Live with Bridget Ellison, Crystal Moyer. Weather with meteorologist Candace Campos and Central Florida's only traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
Well, it's Thursday, and that means we're going to answer one of the questions you sent in for Ask Trooper Steve. And this is an interesting one, always looking for an excuse. Am I still required to do 20 miles an hour during the summer, even if I know school is not in session? So hear me out. If this sign is active, well, then you need to be obeying it. No one really knows the full schedules for school, so hence why there are summer activities, sometimes late night activities. So Florida law says if this is an active school zone and the sign is lit, then you need to be paying attention. And at the end of the day, kids hang out around the school zones. You should be cautious anyway. If you've got a question and you want me to answer it, let us know on our website. Just head to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
Incredible new video this morning showing the destruction being caused by historic flooding in the Midwest. Take a look. Cameras were rolling when a large part of a house there, you could see it fall right into the Blue Earth River just south of Minneapolis. The ground under the house had been compromised after a dam nearby partially failed earlier this week. Fortunately, the family that lives there had been evacuated.
Well, soccer practice is canceled at one field in Illinois today. My goodness, all because of this. Take a look. Part of the field is just gone after a massive sinkhole opened up. This is in Alton, just over the bridge from St. Louis, Missouri. The hole is about 100 feet wide, my gosh, and 30 feet deep. It even swallowed a light pole. Fortunately, no injuries were reported, and there was not an active soccer match going on.
My goodness.
Look how it just folds. Just folds down.
In a blink of an eye, it's done.
I have no idea.
That's crazy. It'd be interesting to see what was
the cause of that.
What was lying under all this? Yeah.
Some poor groundskeepers are probably looking at like, no, that beautiful grass.
Those lines were so straight. So straight. All right, let's talk about your weather forecast. Listen, if you're planning on playing some soccer, any outdoor sports, maybe some soccer camps out there, we are expecting another warm afternoon. It will be feeling like 100 to 108. Did I say warm? I mean hot. It's a hot afternoon. I don't know why I said warm. It's a warm morning, muggy as well, as we are waking up right now in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Then throughout the day, we're going to see a few more spotty storms. For the past couple of afternoons, we've had that collision. That east and west coast sea breeze will develop some of those scattered showers between about 2 and 5 o'clock. And then we get those booming late day storms that go into the evening. That doesn't look like the main setup for today. We will still see, for sure, some spotty storms in the forecast. It just won't be as widespread or as long lasting. So our rain coverage for today goes a little lower at 40 to 50%. I do want to show you a quick check on the tropics. We've got two areas, two relatively impressive tropical waves for this time of the year. We have one which is typical in the Caribbean. This is where we tend to see systems kind of develop this time of the year as it continues to approach areas of Central America, Yucatan Peninsula as well. But the one that's a little more interesting, a little more intriguing is this tropical wave that's really far out there. It's not that time of the season where we tend to see these systems rolling off the coast of Africa. But here we are. Again, we are talking about an above average season expected, and this is one of those signs that the atmosphere, even far out into the Atlantic, is already primed and ready for more development. National Hurricane Center, as of now, giving this system a 70% chance of potential development. Looks to be our next named storm, potentially by the weekend as it makes its way closer to the Windward Islands. If it does get a name, the next name on the list, by the way, is our letter B, which is Beryl. This system, not sure if it's going to get a name. It still has a lot of land that it has to get through before it can actually start really starting to strengthen and organize itself. Temperature is out the door, though, a bit closer to home. No big tropical concerns, but certainly will be concerning will be how much heat we're expecting. Now let's check on your hour-by-hour forecast for your Thursday.
Your forecast is sponsored by Freedom Health Medicare Advantage plans.
All right, your rain chances for today do increase about 40 to 50%. The real timing of today's storms looks to be along the I-95 corridor there. But before we get any rain, most of us will be feeling like the triple digits for several hours today, but still below any heat advisory criteria. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
All right, guys, we're going to issue a traffic alert on this. This is a major crash here. This is on 414 Maitland Boulevard. Westbound lanes completely shut down here at Magnolia Homes. And then eastbound, you're down to one travel lane. Sky 6 currently over this, and the delays are huge. Let me show you on the map here exactly what we're talking about. So we're west of 434, east of Rose Avenue. High population, high transition area here. So please avoid this area as much as possible, about 15 extra minutes if you're headed in the eastbound direction. Another crash just south of there. West side's getting busy, Hiawassee and Beggs. And then this one just came out also off of Colonial that will slow you down as well, just inside the Ocoee area. It's going to be off of Colonial Drive right there at Blackwood Avenue. It looks like eastbound is now shut down.
All right. Well, an arrest weeks after a local store clerk was shot and killed on the job.
The new details we've learned about the suspect now in custody next as we check our big story.
Discover the magic of color at Crayola Experience, Orlando's most colorful hands-on family attraction. Pride Month is about celebrating our loved ones, neighbors, and co-workers. News 6 and ClickOrlando.com will be featuring local LGBTQ+ stories all month long. Join News 6 as we recognize all those proud to be themselves.
Before, let's check our big story, starting with Ezzy Castro and an arrest in the murder of a local store clerk.
Police here in Leesburg made the announcement last night, nearly a month after the victim was found dead here at the M&M Food Mart. Now, this crime shocked the community out here after cameras captured the suspect walking in, then opening fire during a robbery. Police knew who they were looking for and say a special task force tracked down Alex Lopez last night in the Kissimmee area. He was booked into the Osceola County Jail last night and should face a judge later today. Steve?
We now know it was a 47-year-old man killed in a shootout with police in Melbourne. Officers shot William Banks yesterday after police say he fired at them first at the Pentagon apartment complex on Strawbridge Avenue. Mark.
The race for the White House is set to heat up tonight as President Biden and former President Trump get set to face off in their first debate. This one, though, will be different with no audience and a promise that the candidates' mics will be muted when it's not their turn to speak. Both men are hoping for a strong showing and to make their case on several issues, including the economy and immigration. The debate is set for tonight at 9. We'll bring it to you live here on WKMG. Crystal?
Mark, and speaking of live coverage, we're less than 20 minutes away from a planned rocket launch from the Cape. SpaceX is looking to send more Starlink satellites into orbit at 7:14. Candace.
Launch is looking good for that, at least weather-wise. As we continue to warm up later on today, temperatures will be back into low 90s, feeling like over 100 degrees for a few hours, although rain chances not as widespread as what we've been dealing with the past few days, but still anticipating a good chance for some rain. We'll see more of a collision of sea breezes, though, return on Friday and continue into the weekend, Steve.
Thank you, Candace. Right now, we're looking at a traffic alert. Sky 6 is over this. The chopper pilot's kind of informing me this does look like an extremely serious crash, possibly a fatal crash. We do not have that confirmed yet, but westbound lanes out here at Magnolia are shut down. You can see on the map here of the delay, so please be careful out in that area. We'll have an update as the morning continues. Thanks for joining us, and remember, breaking news over at ClickOrlando.com.
You can also find all of our stories and podcasts on our News 6 Plus app for your TV.
CBS Mornings is next. Have a great day.
All the news is. If you want to find out something, that's where you go.